Hey everyone, it's Neen and I'm back today to share with you guys another tutorial. So I have a lot of requests on how I do the binding technique for my mini albums. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. So it's actually really simple to do once you kind of see how I do it and you kind of figure out how everything's put together. It's actually really easy to make, and it's the best way so far that I found how to bind mini albums. I've used a lot of other different binding techniques for my minis, and a lot of them didn't hold up. They started separating after a while, but this technique here is honestly the best one. And so I just want to put a disclaimer though and say that this is not my idea. It's actually Laura Denison's idea, and her YouTube channel is Follow the Paper Trail, and she's actually really popular here on YouTube. But just in case if you don't know her, this is her technique and this is where I got it from, and she calls it stack the deck. Okay, so first of all, I guess let me just tell you guys the type of paper that I use to bind my minis with, and I just use cardstock like this. Well, I usually use white, but since my background here is white, I wanted to use some gray cardstock to kind of pop off, you know. But I usually take 2 layers of cardstock and I adhere it, and that just makes it thicker and more durable, and it won't tear. And I have notes here on the side to make sure that I don't forget anything or leave anything out. So okay, so I guess it just depends on what type of album you're planning to make. If you're making albums like how I make mine with like a ton of embellishments and flowers and stuff like this, and it's gonna be really chunky, then you should have gussets that are about 1 inch. It just depends what type of embellishments you're going to use, if you're going to use any at all. If you're not going to use embellishments, you can just have like this here. Let me just explain this real quick. These two, this left piece right here, this right piece, these are the flaps that adhere to the page. This part in the middle is the gusset. So this one I have 1 inch gusset here. That's because you see like the huge flowers like this. It fits perfectly in there, and when you close your album, it's not going to be sticking up, or it's not going to be squishing your flowers or anything. It's going to fit perfectly like that. So the 2 main sizes that I always use in my albums is 1 inch gussets like this, or 1/2 inch gussets for flowers like this. You see how this one isn't as wide as this large flower right here? And let me just show you an example real quick. This is an album that I'm working on right now. And you could see, you know, you can keep your gussets all one size and have 1 inch all throughout, but I don't like to do that because it makes the spine of my minis really thick, and I don't like it too wide, so I like to mix it up. And so for this gusset I have 1/2 inch, and there's 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and then 1/2 inch gusset. So you can mix it up like that. It just depends on what type of embellishments you're going to use, and you know how wide you want your spine. And you know, the easiest way how I figure it out is just take whatever embellishment you're going to use, and then you know, have it sideways like this, and take a ruler or your a ruler, and just measure how wide it's going to be. Okay, so let me try to explain to you guys how this works. It's actually pretty easy. Okay, so basically for all my flaps, they're always going to be 1 inch. Whenever I'm measuring out my binder pieces here, I always measure out from the left to the right. So I measure out 1 inch, and that's going to be for my flap. And then I measure out however wide I want my gusset. Since this one is going to be 1 inch, I measured out 1 inch, and then another inch for my flap. So that was my first piece, and then I just cut this off. And then I, you know, made little tick marks of where 1 inch was, and I just scored it, and I creased it like this. Okay, and so when I move on to my second piece here, basically what you want to do is add 2 more of this measurement here. So I have 1 inch gusset, add 2 more gussets to that. So that'll be 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3 inches. And so I'm going to take, I take my second piece of paper, and I start from the left side again, and I measure out 1 inch, make a little tick mark. That's my flap. And then 3 inches, make a tick mark and an inch here for my flap, and I cut this piece off, and then I just score and I fold the ticks where I had the little inch marks at. These are my flaps. This is my gusset part. And then I take the next piece, and again I'm just going to add 2 more. So this was 1 inch right here in the middle for this gusset. This one I added 2 more of this measurement, 1 inch, so that's 3 for this one, and now you want to add 2 more again. So 3 plus 2 is 5. So I have an inch flap, 5 inches for the gusset, an inch flap. Score it at the 1 inch tick marks, and you just crease it, just like that. Okay, so now I'm just going to bind my pieces together, and you can use whatever adhesive you like to use. I'm just going to be using this one to help me save time. And so let me just put a little bit of tape, and when you put these on, you're just going to want to center it right in the middle. And this is what I do. I just eyeball it. You know, if you want, if you're like an exact measurer, you can measure it up and figure out where the middle is and do it like that, but I just kind of eyeball it and just attach it down so you can see your flaps and your binding piece, your binder piece is coming together. Okay, so now I'm just gonna put some adhesive on this side, and don't put adhesive on the flaps, of course, just put it on the gusset. And now I'm just gonna center it on this piece, just like that. Okay, so this is what you're gonna have. You're gonna have your flaps here, which is all 1 inch, and then your gussets, which is all 1 inch as well. And this is what it looks like. Okay, so how I adhere my pages, I actually take my page and I cover all my pages on the front side, and then I take them, I leave the back side, put the paper off for now. I take it and I put some adhesive on my flap, then I adhere this down, and then that's when I flip it over and I cover the back, and it's going to cover up this flap here, just like that. Okay, so if you want to make your spine even more sturdy, you can take a piece of chipboard and measure down to size and cover this, adhere it onto this piece right here. Then your spine will be super sturdy. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I'll also link down below Laura Denison's Stack the Deck binding tutorial. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day and give this a try, and I'll talk to you guys later.